Number 20. Israel. Israel is a small country, with few natural resources. This country is surrounded by enemies. But Israel has very well-trained troops and advanced defense equipment, and of course, they also have nuclear weapons. Their armed forces have 595 aircraft, 7,500 armored vehicles, and 65 ships. Mostly patrol ships. They also have 170,000 soldiers on active duty. Its defense budget is $21.7 billion. Number 19. Australia. Australia has many natural resources, which would help in long wars. In addition, it is an isolated island in Oceania, which would make it difficult for an attacker. This has some problems with China, but a war is not even considered by any of the countries. Australia is also a rich country, and it has small military forces, but advanced. It has 425 combat and support aircraft, 3,050 armored vehicles, and 48 ships. It has 60,000 active soldiers. And its budget is $27.5 billion. Number 18. Spain. Spain is Europe's fifth country in population, despite not being as wealthy as other European countries. Still manages to keep 125,000 soldiers on active duty, 519 aircraft, 3,500 armored vehicles, and 77 ships. Highlighting its 11 frigates. The defense budget is about $13 billion. Number 17. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a country that has evolved a lot economically in the last decades, but the lack of diversity of natural resources is a problem. In addition, Saudi Arabia is in conflict with several countries and armed groups in the region. They have an incredible number of 480,000 active soldiers, 889 aircraft, and 12,500 armored vehicles. Its defense budget is the seventh largest in the world, with $48.5 billion. Number 16. Indonesia. Indonesia has a huge population, with 270 million inhabitants. Furthermore, the country is an archipelago, which would make an invasion very difficult. Their equipment is not the best. It has 400,000 active soldiers, 415 aircraft, and 1,430 combat vehicles. Their defense budget is $9.2 billion. Number 15. Germany. Despite its military history and the volume of its economy, Germany today has a small number of soldiers, only 185,000. The country also has 705 aircraft, 80 ships, and 5,260 armored vehicles. Its defense budget is $57.4 billion. Number 14. Iran. With a population of 85 million, 1,400,000 young people reaching military age every year, and with one of the largest oil reserves in the world, Iran surprises on the list. The country has 525,000 soldiers, 516 aircraft, and 8,500 armored vehicles. Its defense budget is $14 billion. Number 13. Egypt. Like Iran, Egypt has a large young population, but Egypt has a greater diversity of natural resources. The country has 450,000 active soldiers, 1,053 aircraft, 11,000 armored vehicles, and 316 ships, the majority of which are small patrol vessels. Its defense budget is only $10 billion. Number 12. Italy. Italy is a rich country. But with an aging population, it is also a peaceful country and has no major problems with its neighbors. The country has 175,000 soldiers, 876 aircraft, and 8,500 combat tanks. Its defense budget is $30.5 billion. Number 11. Turkey. The country has a population of 82 million. Turkey has some internal problems. And it also plays an important role in the Middle East. The Turks have 355,000 troops, with an expressive number of 1,056 aircraft, and an expressive number of 11,630 armored vehicles, in addition to its 149 ships. Its military budget is $17.3 billion. Number 10. Pakistan. With 220 million inhabitants, Pakistan is the fifth most populous country in the world, The country has already been at war with India. Pakistan also had conflicts with Afghanistan. It is noteworthy that Pakistan has nuclear weapons. This country has 654,000 people, 100 ships, 1,364 aircraft, and 9,635 armored vehicles. Its defense budget is $12.2 billion. Number 9. Brazil. Brazil has a population of 214 million people. The country is rich in natural resources, and is self-sufficient in several areas. Brazil has no declared enemies, and is considered a peaceful country and moderator of conflicts in the region. In 2020, 3,400,000 people reached the military age in Brazil. The country has 334,000 active soldiers, 2,000 armored vehicles, 112 ships, and 676 aircraft. The defense budget is $29.3 billion. Number 8. The United Kingdom. The country is rich, and it is an island, which makes an invasion more complex, but it is also a disadvantage from the perspective of the supply of imported goods, since the country depends on imports of various commodities, from oil to food. The United Kingdom has 195,000 active duty soldiers, 88 ships, 738 aircraft, and 5,500 armored vehicles. Its defense budget is $56 billion. Number 7. France. France is not known for its military strength, but the country has significant stakes in peacekeeping missions and wars in the Middle East and Africa. The French have 270,000 active soldiers, 180 ships, 1,057 aircraft, and 6,420 armored vehicles. Its budget is $47 billion. Number 6. South Korea. South Korea is constantly threatened by North Korea, and China is also a potential enemy in the region. The number of active soldiers in South Korea is an impressive 600,000 people. The country also has 1,581 aircraft, 234 ships, and 14,000 armored vehicles. Its budget is $48 billion. Number 5. Japan. Japan has been struggling to improve its armed forces, as it also has disagreements with China and North Korea. The Japanese have 250,000 active duty soldiers, 155 ships, 1,480 combat aircraft, and 5,500 armored vehicles. Japan's military budget is $52 billion. Number 4. India. India is the second most populous country in the world. It also has nuclear weapons and a large young population. Its workforce is 1.4 million people. India also has 2,200 aircraft, 285 ships, and 10,000 armored vehicles. Its military budget is also impressive, with $73 billion available. The top 3 start with China. China has a problem with almost all of its neighbors. It also has nuclear weapons and a large industrial capacity. China has some negative points, such as the fact that its population is aging rapidly and depends on imports to feed its population. The country has the largest army in the world by the number of people, with 2.2 million active soldiers. China also has 3,260 aircraft, 777 ships, and 35,000 armored vehicles. The country's military budget has increased dramatically in recent years and is currently $178 billion. Number 2. Russia. Russia is the heir to the Soviet Union. It has an enormous arsenal of nuclear weapons. Its extensive territory and its diversity of natural resources also count in favor. Russia has 1 million active soldiers, 4,144 aircraft, 603 ships, and 27,000 armored vehicles. The country's military budget is relatively small for the size of its armed forces. Its budget is $42 billion. And the first place, as you may imagine, is the United States. The country has no major threat to its territory. Its main military actions are in countries far from its territory. The Americans have 1.4 million soldiers on active duty, an unbelievable number of 13,000 aircraft, more than the number of aircraft from China, Russia, India, and Japan, combined. The Americans also have 40,000 tanks and 490 ships. The United States military budget is $740 billion, which represents about 40% of everything the world spends on defense. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, Make sure to subscribe for more.